Here is Sycamore Social. Um, this is what you would see when you log in as a client. This is your dashboard, and basically your dashboard is the overview of what's going on in your account right now. So right now we're in our Dogwood Media Solutions account, and this is basically the overview of what's been going on from the 17th of September to today being the 30th, so I guess the 16th through the 30th. And it shows you your engagements, impressions, that kind of good stuff. As you scroll down, it shows you if you have any posts that are scheduled for today, posts that are scheduled for this week already, if you have any content that is needing to be approved. And we'll talk about approvals in just a little bit, which is a really cool feature of Sycamore that we've really enjoyed. But it also shows you if you have any conversations pending, so your messages, your comments, all that kind of good stuff all goes into a social inbox, which we'll look at later, but it tells you right here how many you have to respond to. It shows you the different accounts that you've got linked and also the team members that you've got, as well as your integrations, which we'll talk about. And then down here, it would show you previews of your posts if you had them scheduled and ready to go. If y'all have any questions, put them in the chat box and I will do my best to respond to you as quick as possible. But yeah, so that's the overview of the dashboard, which is exactly what it is an overview. So one of the things about Sycamore Social that is a little different from your typical Hootsuite or Sprout is kind of the way that we create content and schedule content. So if you're familiar with Hootsuite and Sprout and similar programs, you probably know that you generally would go to a calendar and you would click on a day that you wanted to post something, and then you create content, and you might be able to add multiple days, but you have to put in the specific days, specific times, that kind of thing as you create the content. Well, we just kind of figured that for us and what we were doing, that was not necessarily the best way for us to do things because we liked keeping up with all of our content and we liked knowing what was going out, what had already gone out. We liked being able to reuse content that was evergreen content or maybe something that we posted maybe a couple months ago, but now it's become relevant again. So what we did was we created a two-step system where basically we create our content in the content library and then we move over to scheduling it later. So this is our Dogwood Media Solutions content library. As you can see, there's lots of stuff in there because we've been doing a lot. So we've got 192 items in there. Of those items, we've posted 385 different times with those items. So you can see we've got tags, which is basically just how you organize your content. So you can click on any of these and it'll pull up all the things that are tagged with that. So if you know you posted a blog that would be really good to repost, but you can't remember exactly maybe what the name of it was or what the picture was, you can click on your tag, pull it up, find the right one, and then reuse it from there. So this is also obviously where you would create your content. So you can click your little create content button, and this is our content creator. So it's a little bit different than typical content creators, but for good reason, and I'll show you exactly what those reasons are in just a minute. So basically when you click on your create content, it pulls up this first window, which is where you get to decide what type of content you're wanting to post. So you can add images, which can include uploading images from your computer. You can find free stock images using Pexels, or you can design a custom piece of content with your Canva account if you've got one. If you don't, you need to, because Canva is super great for creating those quick graphics that you need to go out. If you have a graphic designer, that's awesome. We do. We have our graphic designer as well as our creative director, and they are awesome and super talented, but sometimes I need something super fast, and Canva is the place to go for that. So you have these three different options for pictures. Then you also can upload videos. Those you have to be aware of the different platforms and what they allow as far as videos go. I'm sure you know Instagram posts only allow you to post up to 60-second videos, that kind of thing. So all of those rules still apply even though you're using a third-party system. But you can upload videos, and then my favorite that I use more often than not is the share URL. So let's say we jump on over to Dogwood Media Solutions and we want to share the most recent blog that we've done. So we copy that URL and then we put it right there, and it pulls up exactly what you're going to see when it gets posted. So this is the image that it'll have, this is the title, as well as the meta description. One of the very cool things is that you can change this. So let's say that you've posted this blog before and you want to post it with a different picture just so that it looks a little different, maybe draws in a little bit more attention. You can replace the image with one from your computer. You can also change the title if you wanted to maybe make it a little bit more specific to a certain audience that you're trying to reach. You can also change the meta description, all of those good things. But this was really cool because you really get to see exactly what is getting pulled in. So then we can move over to our captions. So for URLs, it'll try to automatically pull in usually the title of whatever page you're on. And so that's one option. Obviously, you probably want to actually caption things with, with what you want it to be. But so in your captions, you can write out whatever you want your caption to be. So check out our newest blog. And as you know, I'm sure, Twitter has its character limits. We use lots of hashtags on Instagram, and if you've been using Hootsuite or Sprout, then more than likely you are used to having to create multiple different posts for those different platforms, because we don't want to put 8,000 hashtags on Facebook like we do on Instagram. We don't necessarily want our captions to be as short on Facebook as we do on Twitter, all those kind of good things. Well, you don't have to do that with Sycamore. So in Sycamore, we have platform-specific captions. So I can go through and write a different caption for Facebook, for Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. You can also do YouTube posts and Google My Business. And I can go in and write different captions for each one of those things. So let's say that on Instagram I wanted to put hashtag blog. And then if this was a longer caption, I could go in, shorten it on Twitter, make it longer on Facebook, all in one place without having to recreate lots of different types of content. Another cool thing is that you can save hashtags. So these are the ones that we've been using for Dogwood. So if I wanted to add the Dogwood hashtags, all I have to do is click it and they add in automatically without me having to type out all these millions of hashtags. Super easy. All you have to do is add/manage, create a new hashtag, give it a name, type in all the hashtags you want, and there you go. So that's super nifty. It saves a lot of time and a lot of effort. Another really cool thing is that let's say that we want this piece of content to go out multiple times. Maybe we want it to recycle and post, I don't know, maybe we have it in a schedule that posts blogs, and so it's going to post multiple times. If we want it to have a different caption each time, then I can add this caption, and then I can write a new caption and add that one, and you can just keep adding captions to your heart's content. I don't think that there's a limit. I've never found one. If you want to try that out and see if you can find a limit to the captions, you are more than welcome to. But for your needs, you've got as many captions as you want. So that's super helpful when posting something multiple times. As you see, we also have our cute little emojis over here, so you can add those in for some personality. So once you have gotten your captions ready to go, then we can move on over to categories. So these are those organizational categories that I showed you in the library. You can use them as many or as few as you want. Everybody's a little different in the way they like to categorize things, but whatever helps you stay organized and helps you understand what type of content you're putting out, how often you're putting it out. For example, Emily runs our Dogwood social media, and so some of the things that she likes to focus on are the heart of Dogwood, personality of Dogwood, and all that kind of good stuff. So she has these color coded, so when she looks at the calendar, she can see, okay, I've posted about the heart of Dogwood 4 times in the past month, and that kind of helps her know, like, am I posting enough about that? Am I posting too much about that? It's just a good, easy way to see things visually if you're a visual person. So you can choose a category and then move on over to publishing. So this is where you would decide what platforms you want your content to go out on. This is not scheduling it. This is just saying that when this does get posted, whenever I schedule it to go, these are the places that I want it to go. So in our case for this, let's just say we want it to go to Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn. So you just toggle on the ones you want to keep, unclick the ones you don't. Super easy. One of the other things that is super helpful is the content expiration. So let's say that I'm posting about an event that is coming up in October, and I have created a schedule to post about that event, and I've got bunches of different content in that schedule, and I want to promote this event up until the day of the event. Obviously, I don't want to keep promoting it afterwards. So if I know that that event is happening on the 25th, I can put in that expiration date, and this piece of content will be allowed to post as many times as it's able within that scheduled time period. And it'll stop posting on the 25th. So you don't have to worry about it posting after the event, making you look silly. So that's super helpful. Another way that you can expire your posts is to say that you wanted to post a certain amount of times, 4, 5, 6, 2 times. It's up to you. I use that one less often, but it is also still helpful, especially when you're trying to get maybe you've got a rotation of blogs and you want it to post twice and then stop posting. It's really useful for that kind of thing. So, two other things in your content creator real fast. You see this little check button up in the top left. That means that does not require approval. You can click on it to make it require approval, and then it's got this little warning sign. We'll talk a little bit more about approvals in just a minute, and then this is how you know whether or not something's allowed to post multiple times. So if you want something to post once and be done, you can untoggle that. If you want it to be able to be posted multiple times, toggle it on, and all is well. So you've gone through the creator, you've saved your content, and now here it is in your library. So once you have created a piece of content, there are two basic ways that we publish that content or that we schedule that content. And one of them is the calendar, which is super simple. Drag and drop. Let's say I want this to go out on the 8th of October. So I drag and drop it there. It automatically schedules for the time that it thinks is the best for your audience, when it thinks that the most people are on and the most people are engaging with your content. Sometimes, as computers do, they will maybe make the most accurate choice. For example, one of my clients that I work with has a older audience, and so a lot of times it will automatically try to schedule things for 4 o'clock in the morning because people are up and they're on Facebook. But obviously, we don't want to post at 4 o'clock in the morning. We'd rather move that up to 7 or 8, somewhere around there. So if it schedules something for a time that you're not cool with, all you've got to do is move over to your week view, find that post, and then you can drag it up and down to whatever time you want it to be on. Super simple, super easy, no fuss. Another thing is if you want to take it off of the calendar. So let's say you've decided, actually, I don't want this to get posted on the 8th. You can click on the content, click on your 3 little dots here in the corner, and then just delete your scheduled post. Make sure that you don't delete your content, because if you delete the content, it's gone, and then you have to do it all over again, and that's really sad. So, um, Beth says somebody sneezed really loud on the on the live, but it's just me, so I don't know what that would have been. Anyways, but yeah, so you can delete your scheduled post. No big deal, no harm done. So that's one way to schedule things. Some people love that way. Other people prefer the schedules. I am a schedules person because I like to set things up and let it be automated. So my favorite way to do things, I'm actually going to move over to the journal because that's the one that I manage. So schedules. Basically what a schedule is, think of it in terms of figuring out what type of content you want to post and what day you want to post it on. So for the journal, we know that we want a new blog to go out every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we've created a schedule that posts content at 12 o'clock on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And then all I have to do is when I have a blog that I want to schedule, I create the content and then I throw it into the schedule. And as long as there's content in there, it will run itself. Obviously, for blogs, that's a little bit more difficult because you've got to get it posted on the website and all that kind of good stuff. But if you have content that you've got stockpiled, then you can put all that content into your schedule and it'll just run continuously until you tell it to stop or it runs out of content. So this just kind of shows you what our time slots look like. But then you can click on your cues, and so these are the actual content that is in the schedules. So, for example, on Saturday and Sunday, we repost a blog that's already been posted at some point, just to give people another opportunity to see it. And so, like, these are all old blogs that I've got in here, and it just runs continuously. So, the next one that's scheduled is this resources on biblical womanhood. And it's scheduled to post once and then automatically leave the queue. So right now I've got 8 items in here, and I can just keep adding stuff and it'll run itself and I just don't have to think about it. You can also, when you create something in a schedule, you can go over to your calendar and see, you can see when it's scheduled for. So for example, that blog post that I was talking about that's scheduled for Saturday and Sunday, you can see that Saturday, this resources one is scheduled, and then on Sunday, this one about church membership is scheduled. So yeah, it's really easy to see what is scheduled, and also this just saves you a ton of time if you can just wrap your mind around the way it works. The way that I kind of suggest people to start thinking about it is to figure out what type of content you want to post, and then at what cadence you want it to post. So how many times a week, how many times a day maybe, what times you want it to go out, and then just stockpile as much content as you can and throw it into a schedule and just keep up with it and make sure that it's running correctly and doing what you need it to do, and you can save yourself a ton of time. So that's basically the content. That's how you make it, that's how you schedule it. Now we'll move on to some of the other little perks. So we'll move back up here to create approvals. Is one of the things that is specific to Sycamore that we've never used in any other platform, or at least if it did exist, it was too convoluted for us to really find any use for it. But this is what makes Sycamore so great for a team that's working on social media and for collaboration. So let's say that I want to get approval for this week's social. So I title my approval and then I select the content. So let's just say that I need these couple of blogs to be approved by whomever. Let's say I need to send it to Brian so that he can approve it. So I create my approval, and now I can click on it and it brings up this lovely little page where you can just copy and send that URL to whoever you need to show this content to. It does not have to be a Sycamore user. So you can send it to whoever it is that needs to see it. If you needed to send it to your whole team, you could. If maybe you work in a church or some other kind of organization that needs to be really specific about what they're saying, you can send it to your pastor, send it to the communications director, whoever it is, and basically they would open up this page, and in this page, usually these would all say disapprove. Um, so usually this is the way it would look, and they can go in and approve individual pieces of content, or if they say something needs to be changed. So let's say that don't like that picture. Let's find a new one, and then I can leave that comment. And they can leave that comment for you. You can go in and see it. You can make those changes, respond back. It's just a really great way to be collaborative and to also work in checks and balances if you're in a situation where you need to make sure that something is super, super approved and good to go before you put it out. So that's approvals. They're super easy to use, super self-explanatory. The next thing on the list would be recommendations. So actually I'm going to go back to Dotwood Media Solutions. So let's say that we just have no idea what we need to post today. And so we have a couple of different things that we've searched for. You can add as many terms as you want. So let's see. Marketers, change how you approach social media in post-COVID-19 world. So let's say that we thought this was a great blog. We can click on it and go look at it. So let's say we've read it, we think it's awesome, we want to post it. You just hover over that little check mark, click on it, and now it has been pulled into your library, so you can go in and create your captions for it, tell it what platforms to go out on, etc. This is super, super great for those days where you're like, I really need to post something, but I don't even know where to start. Let me just look up some relevant things. So that's your recommendations. You can also do that with images if you wanted to. So we have motivational in here. You can go in, find images, also with pixels, which is awesome. Or you can also, let's say that you're looking for other Instagrammers that you can go and talk to, communicate with, connect with in some way. You can search for images or search for folks that might be relevant to you, and it'll show you those images and people for you to communicate with. So that moves us on to our auto imports. And basically, auto imports are where you connect an RSS feed to Sycamore, and it pulls in any content as it gets posted. So this is specifically great for like our journal, or if you know that you have a collaborator that you post their content regularly. So this is for our journal. These are a lot of the different people that we repost content from, that we have connections with, and so every time that they post something, it will pull it in automatically to the content library. All you have to do is click new source, title it, put the RSS feed in, and then there's a couple more options that you can do. If you wanted to create it to auto caption, you can do that. The auto caption function is actually really great. Very rarely does it have issues, but most of the time they're actually really good captions. You can also have it to post automatically as it pulls in if you just really trust whoever you're getting that content from and you want it to auto post. If you do choose for it to auto post, you can decide what platforms you want it to go out on. Or what I do, I don't auto post things that pull in through the auto import, but what I do is categorize them as potential content or potential blogs, and then as they come in, they're tagged with this, and I can easily go to my content library, look at potential blogs, and see the ones that I have to kind of choose from. So yeah, that's auto imports. Super helpful for me. I know not everybody necessarily uses them, but for me it is super helpful. So that moves us down along to our monitoring functions. So in our monitoring functions, there's lots of different things to look at, but we'll start from the top with our activity feed. So the activity feed basically just shows you your posts, how they're doing. So this one got posted about 40 minutes ago, and as of right now, 11 people have seen it. Obviously, as it's on there longer, more people will see it. But you can see which platform we're talking about. So this one's Instagram, this one's Facebook. On Facebook, we've already had one person click on it, and then it disappeared. Oh, because that's Twitter. Silly Twitter. But yeah, so we've had one person click on it on Facebook, 25 people have seen it. And you can go down and look through content that's been posted pretty much indefinitely. We hold up to a year's worth of posts, so if you really wanted to go back and look at data from a year ago, you could once you've been using us for a year. So basically, the content that you post through Sycamore will pull more accurate data than content that was posted not with Sycamore. So that's your activity, your recent posts from the activity feed. Super helpful just to keep an eye on how things are doing without having to go back and forth between your different platforms. So that moves us on to direct messages. So basically, direct messages is exactly what it sounds like. Any of your messages from any of your platforms will come into this one place, so you can respond to them without having to go back and forth. Super helpful to just keep things consolidated. Then we also have mentions. So if you've been mentioned anywhere, you'll see those all here. You can respond to them. You can go in and like whatever it is that they said. Also leave comments, all that kind of good stuff on Facebook as well as on Twitter. The only little weird thing about Instagram is that Instagram, for some reason, will not let you like a piece of content from a third-party platform, but it will let you comment on it or respond to it. So that is your mentions, and then that brings us to social listening. So social listening, basically you can search Twitter for terms or hashtags, and this is great for I'm sure all of us have gone to Facebook or gone to Twitter and typed in Canva down or Facebook down or whatever. And if you were Canva and Facebook, you would want to know that people are tweeting at you, asking you questions, wanting to know what's going on. So this is a good way to see who's talking about you, what they're saying, and it gives you a chance to respond to those things. So social listening, super great tool. Check it out. So that moves us to the social inbox. Social inbox is basically where all of your comments, messages from all of your different platforms come into one place, and you can respond to them as needed. So, like I said, Instagram, if I can find an Instagram, here we go. Instagram won't let you like things through a third party, but you can still comment and respond back. When you get done, this is actually me, so I can respond to myself. But so let's say that I wanted to like this comment. I could respond back to myself and say, thanks for sharing or whatever. And then I could mark complete and it goes away. Another thing that you can do, let's pretend this is a question and I don't know the answer to the question. I can assign this message to one of the users that is in this account. So let's say I don't know how to do it, but I know Brian does, so I can assign that message to Brian, and now in his assigned messages it would show up and he knows that he needs to respond to that one. You can also leave comments, so if you've assigned it to Brian and you just need to tell him, hey, don't know how to respond to this, will you answer them back? You can leave that comment and then you can move on. And like I said, once that comment has been done with, you can mark it complete and it goes away. So that is your social inbox, which leads us to our final thing, which is analytics. So this is your historical analytics. You can choose whatever range you want to look at. There are pre-decided ranges from 7 days to 60 days, or you can pick specific ones. Let's say we want to do the 1st through the 30th. Obviously, it won't show full data from the 30th because we're still halfway through the day. But so it's showing us right now from the beginning of the month to now, and it says that we've got 2.2K followers on all 3 of our accounts. Right now we're looking at the overall. We have gotten 330 new followers. We've only lost 3, and so we have a super great positive net change. It also shows us that we've posted 71 times in that time period. It shows you your engagement and impressions on those days that you posted. Whatever this is did really well. That was yesterday's post. I guess I'll have to check that out and see what was going on. Also shows you your overall impressions, so 6.9K impressions. And then one of the things that we do differently than a lot of other platforms is that our engagement is broken down into the parts that make it up. So usually you would be told that you have some big number of engagement and that makes you feel good and that's awesome, but you don't really know what that means. So what we did was we broke it up into its components. So you can see that you got 254 likes, 28 comments, 9 shares, 296 clicks. And the reason that we did that is because every company, every social platform has a different goal that you're trying to achieve. So for us, for the Dogwood Journal, obviously one of the big things that we want to happen is for people to click on our content and read the blog. So for us, if we just saw engagement and it said that we got 3,000 whatever engagement, that would be awesome. But if most of that engagement was just likes and nobody was clicking on anything, then we're not really reaching our goals. So we broke it down so that you can kind of see, are you meeting your goals? Are you not? If you're just trying to get your name out there and you really want to have more impressions, then you really want to see these shares go up, because the more people share your content, the more people are going to see it. If you're trying to get more people to interact with you, then obviously you want your comments to go up. And then for us, like I said, clicks. We're really big on wanting people to actually click our content, go to our website, and see what's going on. So then that moves us down to our top posts. These are obviously the ones that, actually this is our announcement from Monday. Super fun. But yeah, so it'll show you your top posts. It'll show you how many likes, comments, clicks, etc. And just gives you a quick overview of what's performing the best. So that's your historical analytics. Oh, you can also look at that specifically based on platform. If you wanted to look specifically at Facebook or Instagram, whatever, you can look at those individually as well. So now moving on to insights. So insights is pretty cool because it gives you insight into what type of content you're posting and what is performing the best. So right now, obviously, it says that video posts with short captions are performing the best. That's because we did that one video for our announcement. It also lets us know that between 12 and 2 is the optimal time for us to post. The type of post that it thinks we should be doing apparently was way more engaging. I'm sure it was, because that was a very funny video. But so also, as you move down here, you can look at your post by distribution. So this says that post type 2 has been posted 3 times, and you can scroll down and see what post type 2 is. Post type 10 has been post type 9 has been posted 20 times. So post type 9 is an image post with long captions. So kind of gives you an idea of what you're posting, how well it's doing, You can look at which posts are getting the most likes, comments, and shares. So post type 6 has gotten the most likes. And yeah, I try to tell our clients, like, this is a great tool. It is awesome to know what you're posting and how well it's doing, but don't use it as gospel because obviously, just because post type 13 maybe is doing really good with comments doesn't mean that if you post that exclusively that your content's going to do better. People like variety. People like to know that it's a real person doing things, and if everything looks the same every time, then they're probably going to get bored. So use this as a tool, not as gospel, um, and it is super helpful for you. So then that moves us on to our community. Got 9 minutes to wrap this up. I can do it. So this is your community. It basically tells you what region most of your audience is in, the age group that most of your audience is in. It also tells you gender of your audience mostly, as well as your top regions. So since we're based in Montgomery, obviously the largest amount of our folks are in Montgomery. But then we've also got some folks throughout Alabama, and even in some fun places. I know we should have at least one in here from Hawaii, somewhere around here. Um, but yeah, just gives you a good idea of who you're reaching. And this is really helpful for, let's say, you're a doctor's office and you know that your primary audience is moms that are making appointments for their kids. So you're trying to reach that mom age kind of group. So if you got on here and it said 65 and older, it's probably not your mom age group of people. And it just lets you know, are you reaching the people that you're trying to reach? Are you overshooting or undershooting? And just helps you to refocus with who you're trying to connect with. So this is the distribution of age, which is really cool to look at. And then also by gender. So a whole bunch of ladies follow the journal, not a whole ton of guys, which is to be expected. But yeah, so that is your community. And then last but not least, we have reports, which basically is the same thing as your historical analytics, but instead of being on Sycamore where you have to be a user to see it, it is a report that you can send out to people. So let's say that we wanted to create a new report for September 1st through the 29th, so we can get full data. You want to generate that report. It'll think a little bit and pull in all of that data, and when it is done, you can click on it. It pulls up your report, and it just shows you all that same information that we saw a little bit ago on your analytics page, but you can share this with people that are not users just like you can the approvals. So you can copy this link and send it to them, and it's interactive so they can see how things did on different days. They can also go through and look based on account, and they can also see the insights just like you could. So those are your reports. You can also download them if you wanted to download a PDF to send to somebody if they're not into the whole links thing. Yeah, so reports are great. They're a great way of keeping up with how you're doing. Yeah, so that is pretty much in a nutshell what Sycamore Social is and how it works. I have not seen any questions come in, but I guess since we have 6 minutes, I'll give you a second. If you want to ask questions in the chat, you can. If you don't want to ask questions in the chat, but you do have questions, you can go to sycamoresocial.com and you can contact us there. We've got a contact form there. We've also got where you can set up your free consultation. Oh, real fast, this is obviously something to mention. One of the beauties of Sycamore Social as opposed to other platforms or other third-party management systems is that we have basically a flat rate for unlimited profiles and unlimited users. So one of your biggest expenses when you're using things like Sprout or Hootsuite is you're paying for your users. So I don't remember exactly what the markup was, but I want to say for Sprout it was like $129. It was like $129 per user, and that is a lot of money. So you don't have to worry about that with Sycamore. So let's see. Beth says approvals are awesome. Yes, they are. Let's see. I don't know if Emily already responded to this question, Becca, but as far as delaying the start of the schedule, um, the only way to really do that is to just turn off the schedule until it's time to turn it on. So you've got your little toggle button right here, and you can just turn it off and it won't post until you decide to turn it back on. We don't have a way right now to schedule those, but that would be a great feature to be able to schedule in the future. But for now, the solution would be to toggle it off when you don't want it to run and toggle it on when you do. Um, let's see. Yep. All right. Well, I think that's everything. Thank you guys so much for being here, for checking it out. Like I said, if you have any questions, please let us know. You can always go to the website to contact us. You can contact us through Dogwood. I'm Lauren at dogwd.com. So if you've got questions, just let us know. We would love to set up a consultation or answer your questions and just figure out how we can work with you and help take your social media marketing to the next level. So thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for dealing with our technical difficulties earlier. And I can't wait to hear from a lot of you and hopefully start this partnership with you guys.